I think we got some rain. I think we got some water, if anybody's thirsty. Awesome. Yeah. Ross Bridge Ruins. Ross. That is the Rotherwood Mansion built by the Rosses. Mr. Ross, one of the founding people of this area. His daddy had owned thousands of acres here, and when he died, he came to check it out, and he made a little place called Rossville. Built the first bridge, not that one, but put a bridge across the river. Very historical. And the judge that sentenced Don is named Ross, Judge Ross. So I asked him, I said, "Are you related to these Rosses?" And he said, "No." I thought for a moment. But these Rosses had slaves at the time. Slaves took the owner's last name. And so many of the slaves' last name was Ross. Well, a few years back, a Ross showed up to maybe buy this because it was empty at the time, to buy the Rotherwood estate. Decided not to. They came because their family was part of the slave family in this area, and her name is Diana Ross, the entertainer, the singer. She almost bought this. I think she didn't because privacy matters, maybe, or a way to keep it safe. But Diana Ross. But that is called Rotherwood Mansion. In this same area is where one of the main Civil War battles of this area was fought. But this is the Holston River. There's a North Holston, a South Holston, and they join right here. The north is on my right, the South Holston is on the left, and this is the nice trail that's currently being washed. Real nice. I think we'll stop right here at the beach. This is absolutely beautiful in the springtime, so maybe we'll come back when we're on part whatever of these 8 months, 9 months, 8.5 months of so far of the missing of summer whales, and my getting to know the family, meeting the family, how I went from just an invisible guy who was just trying to help them with a website to managing the main media for them. I was not the YouTuber person. That was much too big to take on at the time. It needed help there, needed a lot of help there, but my focus was the main media. However, we're not there yet. We're just at the building of the website, having not met the family, having only seen Candus in a parade, having met Robin different times, and she was kind of the connection to whether the family would want a website where they could post things. And we got that started, but I still had not met the family. And so it was maybe within the week, they were having the prayer vigils. And I felt, well, you know, I should go. I'd already, for a few days, had saturated myself kind of in the case, you could say, reading it, posting it, putting up pictures of summer, you know, and you start getting connected to the family because they're, you know, they're giving you their intimate things to post, to put up. So I really wanted to go to one of the prayer vigils, and I didn't know if they would be there or not. I thought they might. Also wanted to maybe get some pictures that I could put on the news site just to help keep summer out there, because I could do that too. You know, I had their website, but I could also put up news on the Kingsport.me Free Media news site. Just keep her name out there, and I could put some things that the other media might not. So I wanted to go to the prayer vigil. They were having it at the park, one of the parks here, Borden Park. Seems like when it gets cold out here, my mouth freezes up. The temperature's dropped again. So that's at Borden Park. Ooh, that's a good piece of bamboo. That's what we use around here for fishing poles. It's a good size, real good size. Oh, nice. Drop the good camera in the mud. Yeah, see, good fishing pole. Yeah, put a little string on there, a couple worms. That thing's heavy. Yeah. Also makes an awesome spear. When we were little guys, we'd make spears. They throw good too. So the prayer vigil was at Borden Park. Maybe we'll zip up there in a little bit. And so I came to Borden Park. You know, when you start working on a website with an intimate family's stuff, and then when you combine that with that it's a missing child case, and you combine that with nobody knowing what happened, and you combine that with you don't know these people at all. You don't know if they're the rowdiest things. You don't know if they're evil, mean, wicked. You don't know if they're nice. You know, you don't know if they did it, if they didn't do it. I mean, you don't know any of this. And just right up front, I didn't want to enter into that part of judging, or I guess what we call now getting into the case. I was just simply making a website so that they could post things and have a way to express themselves if they wanted to whatever extent they wanted to. But I didn't know them. So I went to the first prayer vigil at Borden Park, and I think the only person I would have, quote, known was Robin. Didn't really know her, but had communicated enough with her. And Candus was there. Candus Bly Wells, the mother. And that was her, the one that was carrying the banner in the parade. And so I think it was already started when I got there. I might have taken a few pictures. I immediately could feel the vibe. You know, this was late July. So we're closing in on a month and a half, and I could already feel that protective hand, that there were some there that were they were eyeballing everybody. So you could kind of feel that. And I think the media was there then. I'm gonna have to go back and check that. I'm pretty sure it was. And so I was all very, very noticeable when there's media around, because I've just worked with media a lot through life. So I was observing more than anything, just trying to get a feel for it, because I'd ventured in with this website, and there's this feeling like, should I even be doing this? Is this yay, is this nay, is this good, is this bad, is this just a whole bunch of insanity and craziness, is this legit? And there was naturally a feeling inside, yeah, this is legit. This is very real. This is, quote, your neighbor. I mean, they weren't that far down the road, and their child's gone. We don't know what, we don't know how. I'm putting up all these pictures of her, and I'm looking at this, this little girl. She's not a baby, she's a little girl. And, I'm thinking back of my sisters and my nieces, and, those that are close to you in your heart. And so, you're going, yeah, it's valid to help. It's valid to help. It's helping your neighbor. It's just doing your little teeny piece that you can do. Something you're very familiar with that you can do. I mean, nobody had done it. I'd kind of watched, and it wasn't happening. So it just seemed like that's the part I could play to help. But I still didn't know the people. I didn't know Candus. I didn't know Don. Only person I knew was Robin, and she was so happy in her personality, even though in struggles and emotion, but she still had a way of keeping that smile on her face. And so that was established, and she was friends with him. So I thought, okay, well, as they say, sometimes you can not judge a person, but you can look at their friends and kind of see a little something about them. So there at the prayer vigil, I can't remember if they started praying or they said, let's pray, but I just went over and stood next to Candus to pray. Was the main reason. But then also just to see what her atmosphere was. I've been around enough people in life. You can tell when they're, you can feel those, we'll call them vibes. I'll just call it that. And, we went, we prayed. And, you're trying to grasp, here's a woman whose child's disappeared. A billion miles past what especially a man can feel. Men can't feel what mothers feel. Ever. This is the woman that carried the child, for 9 months, and all that relationship that develops even before the child's born. Then the child's there, then the child's gone. But I stood by her. It wasn't like you were next to somebody in a 1,000 unraveled emotions. There was a solidity about her. There was something solid. Emotion, yeah, oh yeah. I mean, this woman was a month and a half drained of emotions. Tears, yeah, there was some, but not much. She was drained. She was there. I don't know how to put that into words. I'll almost have to just look at my pictures and maybe catch a little of what it was like standing there beside her. I mean, by now there was still a daze about it, I guess, in her, kind of in a daze. But it'd been a month and a half, and they'd already been through a lot. They'd been through a lot of the social media, a lot of the news media that sometimes would take what you say or bend it or tilt it, or, you know, that dramatic point that sells the story. That's just how it works. So she was just there, and the people were praying, and she was standing there. But, you know, people say, yeah, she's wicked. No, I sense nothing evil. I sense nothing wicked. There was nothing there that was that way at all. You know, and I'm as I said, been around enough to know, well, you know, you don't just take one little thing and say, oh, okay, and make a decision. But that was just that moment. There was nothing bad at that moment. There was nothing that seemed like this was a horrible, evil woman who was, you know, brilliantly devious and blah, blah, blah. You know, she was just who she is. Looking back, I can see that. She was just exactly who she is. And so there was prayer. And I believe it was after that meeting that, or it wasn't after that. Oh, that was it. I think I had already talked to Robin, you know, about the caution with the cameras, because it was a hot case. And it doesn't matter how wonderful the person is. A news person is under the pressures of their own boss. I think one of the most famous lines everybody's taught is, well, we just have to ask. It's kind of like one of those catch cliche phrases. But they're, you know, there's just some amazingly nice people. Nice newscasters. But they're taught somewhere between news and investigative reporting, and I'd already heard enough online to see that the whales just weren't geared. They weren't geared for that. They never worked with media, talked to media. You know, they'd gone through the first big phases of what the YouTube creator, you know, dominion was like, and pretty close to already burn out with the media themselves. They don't like cameras in the face. And then when they would see the reports and the influence of that, so I believe it was that one. It could have been the next one. So if I get some of these switched, I'll try to correct it here on editing. But that was when Robin, who I'd talked to, not quite enough, but I'd talked to her about the media that was there and some cautions that needed to be taken. Because the cameras never turned off. If you ever work with the media, always know that. When the story's over, the camera's still running and everybody relaxes, and that's when they try to get you with the question they really want to ask you. So, little things like that. And once again, this is just how it works. If you've ever worked in media, this is just how it works. And you got to have the dramatic punch, because that's what sells the ads and brings the viewers. If you don't believe that or understand that, go check out YouTube and look at the stories, the crime stories that are full of drama and accusation and all those sorts of things that require Shakespearean actors to speak about. So it sounds very big. James Bond. And you'll have thousands of views. You put up just a good, solid, all-around truth, you'll have some. That's just how it works. That's why these videos I'm making, I'm really not making them. I'm making them for the boys. I'm making them for the family. I'm making it just for myself to sort everything. And you'll notice, just kind of track them as they're unfolded. You're not going to see that many views because they're not exciting, which is just fine. They're not really there for views. This isn't monetary. Unless you set up an account and do all that, according to rumor. Even if I had 50,000 subscribers, unless I've actually set it up monetary and name and money and bank account and however all that works. No, the only person making money would be YouTube. So I could have 1 billion subscribers, but if I don't monetize, I don't make a penny. And if ads pop up, that's YouTube. Because I'm a guest on YouTube's turf. It's not my channel. Just like Facebook. We're the guest on a corporate company who sets up something that we're able to use. It's not the real world. It's just what it is. So we discussed that, Robin. The one person I knew, but she was there and she's bubbly and lots of zeal and also hadn't worked with media. So I'd give her just, especially just standing right there, I said, be careful here, don't do that, watch out this way. You know, I just want to stay invisible. And the media was asking me, you know, who are you? Can we interview you? And no. And that's when Robin, in her wonderfulness to encourage and support, had her little talk with the flyers, and I'd asked her, I said, just let them know about the website if you would, that it's there. But I forgot to say, but please don't mention me, because I can just work quietly. I mean, I was just barely in this. I'll just quietly do the website for the family, you know. And if you count the rings, you can see how old the tree is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll say 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Real fast, 40, 50 years old. Beautiful wood. So Robin, not knowing me, she really didn't know me. She thought that was my business, I think, making websites or something, and so she wanted to promote me. So she says, you can go to the website. And Tim Mullen over here made it.
There's a website that's just been created. It's called findsummerwells.com, and it's going to have updated information on there. So we don't to put this on there? Absolutely, okay. Yes. Tim Mullen right there. He's the one that made it. He created the website.
Tim, and I was like, no, shh. That you see my little finger. It wasn't 007. It wasn't because I was the head of the SDA church or the Branch Davidians or, you know, all these things that people proved were me, and they were every single one of them wrong. I don't know where they do their research. I could have found out who I was in about 10 seconds online. But anyway, I gave her the hush, shh, like, no, this isn't about me. No, this is not about me. This is about the Wells family in Summer. You don't need another face, another person. That's just how I am. Yeah, it's a mix. I like being invisible. I also like people. But I've also been in the entertainment industry. I've been around all that too. I was in a little movie once, you know. It just comes with all that. But she said my name. And my little hush was just, it's, no, it's not about me. And God bless her soul. Later she said, I'm so sorry. And it was like, that's fine. But I knew the very split second she said it, it was going to be very impossible to stay invisible. And just quietly do my little portion. And sure enough, the media came straight over and they wanted to interview, and they really wanted to interview then. And it's like, no. And then things just kind of kept unfolding, and I believe that was the time. I mean, they were wanting to talk to Candus. That's probably about the first time I stepped in. I walked over to Candus and I said, would you want to let them talk to you? And I think she said, no more. No more interviews or something like that. And I picked it up in a split second. Yeah, they're burnt. They are burnt. And they are burnt out with this digital world. This insane digital world. I mean, there used to be some dignity about all this back in the early days when there were maybe 3 channels on the networks, 3 networks. But I could tell real fast she'd had enough of this stuff. And so that was like the first moment where I felt protective. So I let the media know. I wasn't a spokesperson, but I kind of had to step in at that moment kind of as a spokesperson. And I was just watching all this unfold around me, and I realized, you know, we need to get this out. So I went to Robin. I said, Robin, would you let them interview you? And you could tell them, you know, tell them about the website. And she was reluctant at first, but then she would. And I saw right then, if I was building a news station, I would have hired her. I gave her about 2 sentences or 3, and she spoke in an absolutely beautiful, brilliant couple paragraphs or so. It's a news person's dream, because they catch it immediately, and then they can speak it and add it and put it verbally, and it's what you're looking for. I mean, if there was a spokesperson, Robin easily could have been it. And so she handled that. And it was very good, extremely good. I think it was with Erica out of Knoxville. I think that one was. I can't remember now, because one of the local stations, I think the boys weren't there at the home at that point, and you know, one of the stations, you know, they'll ask questions and they'll slip in this, and they'll ask 5 this way, and then they'll shoot in number 6, and then they'll go back. But it's the number 6 that they're trying to get. And I think that was one when one of the stations took something she said, and you know, their headline was, you know, like Sunday school teacher spokesman confirms boys are blah blah blah, and it's like, whoa. So Robin real fast found out how you can go from just being yourself and trying to honestly answer a question, and you are presented completely what you do not want presented as. So you just kind of have to, you see how each announcer, each news person does it, how each station does it, how they edit it. Sometimes it's not the news person, sometimes it's the editing. There's just more to it before they put it on their stations. And you know, Robin learned fast, and it's one of those things you're always learning, because you just don't know what you might do, how you might blink, what you might say, or what question they'll sneak in, and when they sneak it in, before the interview, during the interview, or after it's over. It's just how it works. I mean, good interviewers, you know, these are skills. Once again, it's a skill set. But this case always is different, this situation, because it's a missing child. And so the rules are there. Switch cameras. The rules are there, but at the same time, it has to be changed. This is not just a story. This isn't just your standard thing that's happening, and you have certain ways, and you got to get your information out of the politician, or you've got to find out exactly, you know, did you burn your house down? You know, whatever those kind of stories. This was missing case. This was a devastation of a family in a situation that was having no answers yet. So that made a slight problem, you might say, in the case of, well, let's not say problem, let's say this was a learning curve. Well, the flood brought in the trash. That's what floods do. But that's what rivers are for. They wash out all the trash. The learning curve issue on this case, and this was very, I want to say this the right way, because it's not jabbing any of the news producers or the interviewers, and that is that most local type stations hire young ladies fresh out of college, a few years experience, to, you know, be the very pretty newscasting lady. The learning curve part is that they are young, and many times haven't been married yet, many times haven't had children yet. And so they don't have that experience of a woman, what it's like to carry a child, what it's like to lose a child. They don't have it in the sense of having been a mother themselves yet. And so when you're in the work atmosphere, well, you feel like you've been here before. Okay, phone filled up, battery went out, so we got another battery. Looks like the geese are enjoying the water. Now what we were saying is, the young newscasters, especially if they've never been married, have never been mother, so just that, what Candus would be feeling, there would be no way they could understand. I mean, even if they've done some other stories, it's just, every mother understands. I don't have to say this. Anybody who's ever been a mother, I guess I should rephrase that, any woman who's ever been a mother, who's birthed a child, only they understand what I'm trying to say. And so what happens is when the reporter, like they say, she back on the beat and she back on her feet, now it's time to ask the hard questions. That sort of thing. Sometimes you forget that the question you're asking may be brutal. I use that word a lot here, but just plain brutal to a mother. You know, I mean, you think it's a good question. Like, if you could say something to Summer, what would you say right now? Well, that just rips the hearts out because you're trying to find a balance and not think about that, and your emotions, and you're in public, and so just things like that are just too much. So it was very apparent that Candus had enough of this stuff. And so at least that one time I kind of stepped in there and helped out by steering the media away from her and letting her have that privacy. Robin learned that you have to be very careful what you say. At that, once again, I think all this was at the same prayer vigil. Because you can bust up a friendship. They don't, in a situation like this, and we've all been learning these things, depending your age, your life experiences, and this sort of thing. But it was, you know, you lose trust. Like they say, trust is hard to earn and easy to lose. And so, looking back especially, Robin was one of the few solid friends that was there before it happened. She was there after it happened. And she's a real friend. And she was trusted. So the media can take something you say and all of a sudden make it look like that you're, you know, you're something special now, and you're using this situation for your own self-glories of some sort. And yeah, when it was reported that she was almost like the spokesman about the boys not being around, you can mess that friendship up. It was all quickly fixed because they were friends. And you know, Candus saw that Robin wasn't, you know, trying to be something or blab out information or tattletale, or, you know, they'd already had, this was a month and a half later, so they'd already had, you know, the so-called friends that call you and say they want to help, and then they start blabbing everything, trying to block the wind, everything you said, but in a negative way. And you know, you lose when you were somebody, when you were a family that was kind of separated anyway. You were living your life. All families do. Every family's that way. Every family finds its normal, what makes it function and how it can function with all the different aspects of life, pasts, complexes, scars. You find your normal. So they didn't have like lots of people anyway that you would say were like friends. And you know, Robin was key to that. So Robin learned real fast the caution that you have to take, and sometimes that caution is just avoid completely. You know, sometimes if you don't feel right, you don't do the interview. And sometimes it's just because maybe your personality clashes with the person doing it, the actual interview. You know, sometimes it's just something you don't know. You just don't feel like it that day, or you just don't feel right yourself. So that was part of what happened. So you kind of had me step in there to help steer off the media for Candus. You had Robin learning better how to work with the media, the cautions to take. You had the website was now made public, which was good. That's all I really wanted. I just wanted it to get out there so the public would have access to the pictures and everything. Try to help this family maybe spot their daughter. You had me trying to stay invisible just because I like that. Just easier to work. And I also didn't want the YouTube mob, you know, just going silly. Yeah, we all have our own reasons of different things. I'm not big at talking about myself, so that wasn't important. You had me meeting Candus. She didn't know who I was. I mean, it wasn't like, hello, I'm this and you're that. It was just meeting her in person. Her atmosphere, what she was like. And then, probably what taught me more about Candus, and I'll share this. To me, it's a sacred moment. You know, if there's such a thing with some YouTube creators. But for us, people who just have a heart and we don't have any other objective, but we're all accused of it constantly. And that is, someone had given Candus, I believe it was a $100 Amazon gift card. We were getting ready to leave, and I was just kind of standing nearby, but I heard Robin ask Candus, you know, what she needed, you know, on Amazon that Robin could go ahead and order and get for her. Candus, I don't even think she breathed between the question and the answer. Just immediately, she told Robin to get $100 worth. They're these, I can't remember what they're called. They come in a little bag and they're little balls of different colors, and you can throw them in your swimming pool or something and they float. And I mean, they come in these great big bags, you know, for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 bucks, I don't know, maybe 10. She wanted $100 worth of these things. And she said, I want you to buy this, whatever they're called, we'll call them the color balls. I want you to buy the $100 worth of these color balls so I can pour them in the swimming pool. So when the children come back, they can have them all to play with in the whole swimming pool. It was something like that. At that instant, I saw this woman is 100% mother. She's 100% mother. There wasn't even a blink that she wanted something for herself. There wasn't a blink of anything else. I mean, $100, that's pretty good stuff. Drop of the hat, she was thinking of the children, and she wanted all that there, so when they came back, And at that point, the boys weren't there. So, I mean, here's a mother now with 4 children that aren't with her. Before you could blink your eye, she spent all $100 on those children. And I knew right then, she's a mother. I had a confidence at that moment that helping them was probably going to be okay. Once again, remember, I didn't know them. I didn't know what they were, who they were, how they were, other than just what I'd seen on some news. And I'd seen the banner, so I already had that little clue, you know, that little insight of Candus. But when I heard her say that, it was clear. And I mean, we know a lot of people, but that was solid 100 grade mother. You know, it doesn't matter what people think of how she mothered. It doesn't matter what they think of anything like that. But she would spend every penny for those children. And I know people have criticized their house and their yard, but if you just step back and look at it, a good percentage of what's laying everywhere, you know, they were making fun of the hillsides. You look at it, it was things for the children. And you can just tell. If the children said, Mom, she was getting them something. And she wasn't going to get just one, she was going to get them all something. Because she's a mother. That's what mothers do. It's their children. It's their life. It's the blood in their system. And that's Candus. Nobody can convince me otherwise. Because it's been confirmed over and over and over since then. That one statement, though, that gave me a trust. That gave me a trust that this mother was a mother. And all the rumors I was already hearing after that month and a half. Just silly. Totally silly. She loved her children. All 4 of them. She loves them all. But you can't squeeze that out of a good... She's not a mountain woman. And she's not a streets woman. She's a combination of a lot of things. I still didn't know her. And I don't want to go that way yet because I don't... Describing her. So I'm just going to hold with that one piece. That's the one piece I knew. Yes, she's a mother. 100 grade mother. And with that confidence, from that first prayer vigil, I felt okay doing the website. If for anybody, it was just for her. You can't stop a river, and you can't stop a real mother.